What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Alchemical Life podcast. I'm Abigail Crow, if you didn't know already. I'm a strength coach. I specialize in helping runners build strength that translates to performance. I have 6 years of coaching experience, training clients from ages 8 to 80, from everyday athletes to NFL players. My mission is simple. It's help you get stronger, faster, forever through smart training. And that being said, today we are going to jump into a Q&A, but first, I want to pay the bills, like, subscribe, comment if you are watching this, please. Moment of pause for you to subscribe. Okay, if you're listening to this, moment of pause for you to leave a review. 5 stars. 5 stars. Okay, thanks. Also, I do have training programs for people who are like, yep, not close to you, don't need a personal trainer, do need some help. I have a return to sport, a go further, and a be unstoppable program, all for athletes who are either returning to sport or are new to running, people who are in their building phase, that's going to be the go further program, and then people who are in season trying to stay race ready, that is the be unstoppable program. All have exercises, sets, reps, video links to everything, queued up, ready to go, rest periods, a full modification list so you can progress and regress each exercise. So the program you can do multiple times and get something new out of it each time, and also has a full cueing log that's associated with it. So every single exercise has an extended cut video that you can also watch where I go over common mistakes and cues I give my clients so that you basically have a personal trainer in your pocket. That being said, we are going to get into today's episode real quick and just move on into it because we do have a Q&A, and I did not really prepare for this. I got a couple questions. I have compiled a couple of common questions that I get, and I'm just going to sort of riff. You guys hear me say that a lot because that's kind of how I do this, is I just riff and I see what happens. I will be drinking some water because I'm trying to keep up with my hydration. I have been super dehydrated this week. Brief aside before I get into the Q&A, for update on my training that you guys might not care about, but I'm going to talk about anyways. So hopefully this will be a chapter so you can fast forward to the actual questions if you don't want to skip this part. But the way this week went all last week, I'm trying to think of when this is released. So all after post 5K, Palace 5K. So the week of April 14th was a down week, and it was a very down week. I ended up getting sick, so took my training, basically chill, and then I got super sick, so I just didn't do anything. I mean, I think I worked out, I did a full body workout, and I walked, and that was it that week. And then this past week, I got into, starting on the 21st, I started getting into my running again. I ran on the 20th, I ran on the 21st, I ran on the 22nd. My ego was just blowing up, and I was ready to get back at it, and I was like, I feel freaking great, and I did way too much. I also did a lower body workout on the 22nd as well. I just basically got into my training as if I had not taken a week off and I wasn't sick, So, and I paid for it because let me tell you, the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I took completely off from any kind of training other than I did an upper body workout on Thursday. That was it. And I walked because I was so sore. I literally have not had 3-day DOMS, 3-day delayed onset muscle soreness, that bad in years. It was absolutely absurd. And I also was just so fatigued, so achy, so tired. I was working a lot as well. And so I wasn't sleeping as much. I mean, I literally just everything that you should not do, Coach Abigail would be yelling at myself right now. So, anyways, this Saturday morning, when I'm filming this, I went on a nice run, got good warm-up miles, cool-down miles, and then in between had some hills I ran with Steph and Mike, and also Danny, did the hills with Danny. Oh, and Chris was out there too. He just beats us, and then he just runs off and, does fast running stuff that I can't relate to. So he's just like an NPC in my world. But anyways, so ran 6 by 200 meter hills, and then at a 5K effort pace, and then ran a 2-mile threshold run right after that, and each mile needed to be cut down. So it was tough because there were lots of hills, and the terrain was a little bit different than what we were used to because we were out at the Greenway, but it was a lot of fun. It was so fun to get back into it. So got a solid 9 miles in of total work, and tomorrow I will be hopefully, we're going to see. I'm going to be smart. I'm going to try and get I want to get one other quality session in. So I would like to get another threshold session in. If that doesn't work out and I'm really sore tomorrow, I'm just going to get some miles, but we'll see. Anyways, so going into this Q&A, we have a few questions, and one of them is in regards to my training, so we'll just sort of keep going with that, and then we'll move into, I'm going to start working with a running coach because I have some scary goals for 2026. I announced them on my Instagram, so I'm going to announce them here. I want to run a sub 19-minute 5K. This is by the end of 2026, so I've got some time, but I want to run a sub 19-minute 5K. I want to run a sub 125 half marathon, and I want to run a sub 5-minute mile, which is crazy. Because I don't think I've ever clocked a sub 6-minute mile, so we've got some work to do, but I'm really excited for it. But anyways, I'm getting a run coach, so I'm very pumped for it. I do have a question on half marathons. Do you have any in mind that you're looking at doing? That's going to be something that I'm going to talk to my future coach about, because ideally, my first half marathon is not going to be me trying to hit a sub 125. I will have, a few races in there in between. So I'm looking at right now the PCB half marathon in December. I think that would be really, really fun. And so, but we'll just see how it goes. That's kind of like my first thought process. And then I will probably do, some 5Ks here and there. I'm going to do the 4th of July Firecracker 5K just for fun. I don't expect like hitting any kind of crazy PR. It's going to be so hot. I also will probably do the turkey trot. I don't know if I'll do the 5K or the 10K. If I'm doing a half marathon build prep, then I might do a 10K that day, but we'll see. Anyways, these are all just things like I don't really know what I'm doing in the running space, so just it is also very strange. I will say I'm rambling a little bit, but I want to talk to you guys about this stuff. It's exciting. This is the first time in my life ever that I've been more excited to go run than I have to lift. This is also the first time in my life ever that I have had to prioritize like losing muscle, because I don't actually need as much as I have. Like I just have a lot of muscle mass, and so now it's just about maintaining the overall. Like I want to keep the power that I have in my runs, and I want to be able to keep the overall strength that I have in terms of being able to have strength endurance. And then I want to make sure that I'm still doing my plyos, I'm still doing my isos so that I'm feeling good and I'm moving well, but I'm not necessarily worried about like, this is the first time that I don't have a strength training block where I'm like, I want to get stronger. I want to add muscle mass. I'm not trying to hypertrophy train anymore. It's very, very weird. So like my training block is just like one main lift and then basically accessory work and a bunch of plyos and isos and stuff. So it's crazy, but it's so fun. I'm really excited for it. So anyways, getting into the questions, the next question after the half marathon question is, what are some of the best compound exercises for runners? This I hear commonly. This is one that I just compiled from like common questions that I get from runners. And the best compound exercises for runners, I think, are ones that are going to improve strength without necessarily sorry you guys, I'm still dealing with the cough and a little bit of congestion. It's what is a compound lift that is going to help improve strength without creating or generating too much fatigue or loading the body so much that it is interfering with the runs. And this also depends on what kind of runner are you. Are you, a seasoned marathon trainer? Are you in the middle of your marathon training? Are you in a build? Are you new to running? Are you in an off season? These are all going to depend on, the type of exercises that I would recommend to do in your program. But let's just say you are somebody who likes to run year round and you're running anywhere from 20 to 40 miles per week, and you have, I would say 3 quality runs and then some easy miles. That's, I feel like, a pretty good average for people. A great compound lifts would be things like a pull-up. Great compound lifts would be something like a front squat or a Zercher squat. And some other good compound lifts, upper body wise, might be an overhead press or a dumbbell press. And I think it's good to just overall be able to drive, load, and strength. And so those exercises are great in terms of just like working on basic strength. And you don't need to do them multiple times per week. You don't need to do them. You don't even necessarily need to do them every single week, but I think being able to touch those elements of just like strength, pure strength, and working on creating output there without driving up too much load is going to be really, really helpful. I would say also a good compound lift would be a barbell RDL or arguably you could say, no, I wouldn't say a Nordic ham curl. It'd be more of an accessory lift, but they are really hard. A Nordic ham curl could be a really good variation to throw in though as well. And so those compound lifts are going to be really helpful. Just being able to have strong lats and train yourself into the train in the overhead position and be able to passively move into the overhead position, being able to get into a position where you're also training the upper body in a mid-range position in that dumbbell chest press or a barbell bench press. Honestly, dumbbells are probably going to be better for most running athletes. And then front squats and Zercher squats, why I have those instead of a back squat is because it decreases overall loadability, but you're still driving a crazy high stimulus. And you're also really, really working on creating upright posture, good bracing, and getting good knee flexion, which a lot of people, when they go into a back squat, they tend to just sink into the hips, into the heels. And I want to still get a lot of strength and movement through knee flexion. So I recommend front squats and Zercher squats for that reason. For a barbell RDL, it's just because we want to train the hinge. You still want to load into the glutes. We still want to work on training the hamstrings and that posterior chain in the lower body. So RDLs are a great variation as well. So those would be some really good compound exercises for runners. It is important when you are training for strength, you are still training movements that are going to generate the most amount of strength. Those are going to carry over the best for strength because you can load them heavy. Those are going to be bilateral exercises. And then you can get into your accessory lifts and unilateral exercises, and you're going to drive really positive adaptations there as well. But I think that in terms of compound lifts, those are great ones to incorporate, and they're not going to necessarily create too much fatigue or issues. Sometimes form can be a problem, but again, that comes with time. And I would say that overall, when you start getting a little bit heavier, those exercises in particular, like they'll fix you quick before, like you need to fix them before, or else they'll fix you. So those are my top recommended. Top 3 exercises to do for a healthy runner in general. So if we're talking about like keeping runners feeling good, so the accessory stuff, top 3 exercises. Some of my absolute favorites, I single leg RDL is probably just going to be till the cows come home. Like a really well done single leg RDL or single leg RDL variation is going to be just amazing. So whether it's a B stance RDL, a single leg RDL, loading it with a landmine, loading it with a dumbbell, loading it with a med ball in front of you, single leg RDL, some kind of variation of is just money. So good. For upper body, I say this a lot too, but I think single arm dumbbell row, I'm really biased to. I really love a good single arm dumbbell row variation just because I think single arm dumbbell rows, you're training. It's kind of a full body movement. Like you're bracing in the glutes. You are also bracing in the core. You're training both rotation and anti-rotation. You're getting a really good stretch in the lat, and the lat is just so important in terms of arm stride and overall function around the rib cage and at the lumbar spine. So I think that a single arm dumbbell row is a great accessory lift to throw in for a running client. And the third, this is so hard because there are so many different things that I would probably a properly done walking lunge or split squat variation. So I love a good walking lunge. Some runners cannot do a walking lunge very well, so especially loaded. But if you can get a good, solid, loaded split squat variation, whether it's front foot elevated, rear foot elevated, regular, or walking lunge variation, I think that's a great accessory to throw into your training. Even if it's not an isotonic movement, even if you just hold it as an isometric, like I love split stance variations for that reason. So I think those are probably my top 3. And in that, I just gave you guys like 10 different ways to perform the thing. But again, that's why I get nerdy with it, because the way that I load the movement, the way that I program it, whether it's front foot elevated, rear foot elevated, regular, if I'm putting them on a wedge, if I'm loading it with, contralaterally or ipsilaterally. So like if I'm loading it same side or opposite side, if I'm going to have them hold goblet squat, if I'm going to help them hold a med ball, like all of those things are, those loading mechanisms are for different reasons to help the athlete move into position really well and improve their overall mechanics and motor learning as they're going through the exercise. So, but yeah, those are my top 3 accessories. And if you have any questions related to those things, obviously hit me up with a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is going to be linked in the description below. And also, actually, this goes into the next question, which is how long should my warm-up be? I have a full warm-up guide, you guys. So if you guys go to my Instagram and you guys, hello, oh my God, I'm like dying. If you guys go to my Instagram and you send me a DM and the DM says warm-up, literally just shoot me a DM that says warm-up, I will send you over my warm-up guide before running. So this is how long should my warm-up be? It doesn't have to be long, you guys. It does not need to be in depth. I understand, like even me, I'm busy. I got shit to do too. I do not want to spend 30 minutes warming up my body before I go run doing drills. I don't want to do it. My running, like all of you guys definitely don't want to do it. You do not have to do it, but you do need to do something. And there also is something too. I will give you guys credit. There is something to warming up by running slower to run fast. Like we run slow to run fast. Just like when you lift, you do lighter sets and then you add weight and you do heavier sets. It is a great thing to warm up with slower running to then go into faster running or harder running. So I think that having a run scheduled into your warm-up is important. How long should it be? Well, it depends on how hard your training session is or how long you feel like your body needs to get you ready for the session. My warm-up, because I'm run anywhere from 1 mile to 3 miles to warm up for a training session. It just really depends. And then I would say on average, probably 1 mile to 2 miles is overall plenty for me to get my body warmed up and ready to go for whatever I'm about to do. And then as far as actual drills go, there are things that I do before my warm-up. Sometimes I go based off of just how I feel. Sometimes I need a little bit more. Sometimes I need a little bit less. And you guys will also figure this out as well. But things like single leg RDLs, hip airplanes, some extensive plyos, some side lateral lunges, some Cossack squats, some world's greatest stretch, like all of those things are going to be things that I would recommend doing before your run that just get you, walking lunges are great because walking lunges are good for getting your overall, working on stretching out the ankle, stretching out the toes, moving through positions, like actually warming up your body in locomotion. And that is all going to be in my warm-up guide. Wow, words are hard. That's all going to be in my warm-up guide. So if you are listening to this or you are watching me right now and you're like, I want a warm-up guide, I want to know what the frick I'm supposed to be doing, click my Instagram in the description. DM me. Say warm-up. You don't even have to follow me. Just DM me and say warm up, and I will shoot you over a guide. Okay? All right. Deal? Deal. Sounds good. The last thing that I'm going to cover today. Good. I'm so good on time still. Look at me. I'm blabbing a bunch and I'm still decent on time. Is what kind of rehab or programming would you prescribe for an athlete with a nasty ankle sprain? Well, define nasty ankle sprain for one. Let's just say we don't have any kind of like grade 3 sprain where we're starting to look into, or potential tearing, like where you're starting to look into, okay, we might need like surgical interventions or something's going on here. Let's just say they have a bad ankle sprain and they've got to be off running for a little bit. What kind of things would I give my client? Well, I'm going to first see what they're capable of doing. Like almost always, you guys, you can give like this very complex answer, but every coach it's gonna distill down to like, what can they do? What are they capable of doing? Like we have systems to this, but it's also like, what can they tolerate? Like what does their pain, what is their body and their pain signals? What is that indicating to us as a coach to give the client? So most of the time, I'm going to give them things that are isometric in nature at first. So whether it's standing on one leg and balancing and doing some kind of drill from there, or like a single leg RDL or a bend and reach, right? Like they're going to hinge and reach. We're working on creating equal foot pressure and just, moving our center of mass around, but still being able to maintain that foot pressure and get our ankle adjusted to load on one leg. So that's going to be one thing that I would look at for somebody rehabbing somebody from a nasty ankle sprain. I'm also going to look at then moving them through position. Like now I want to be able to move them around. Obviously, we're going to plyometrics, and plyos are going to be like the last thing that I would prescribe. Things like isometric calf raises are things that I would prescribe. Then we'd move into a calf raise where we can get as much stretch as possible and then just sort of come up to neutral, loaded, single leg, ideally. If we need to start bilateral, if we need to start from the floor, that's going to be, it just all depends on, right, if the person is experiencing a lot of pain or not. Overcoming isometrics in terms of in a slightly calf, like in a calf raise position, holding and pushing into a bar or having a weight on their back or pushing into a wall. Those isos are great. And then I'd be looking at, after that, probably moving it through positions like a walking lunge where we're bending it, we're loading not just the ankle, and we're moving the foot through the position, but we're also loading and moving the toes through certain positions. And I'm trying to think of what else. Those are probably the big things that I would do in terms of ankle sprains. Unilateral, just getting that sensory input back, that sensory learning back, then being able to load them up in that a little bit more, then being able to actually load the calf and load that isometrically, then be able to start moving the calf through positions and load that, and then potentially add in some overcoming isos so that we're still, it might be that overcoming isos is before the isotonic calf raise, and then we'd be getting into some kind of like walking lunge drill or back to running, slowly back to running, back to lifting normally. I think that's what I would do. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. That's probably what I'm looking at. That's probably what I'm looking at predominantly, though, is training around that, training that foot, training that calf, to make sure that ankle is ready to go. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good. Let me know, you guys, if y'all have any other. Let me just check and see and make sure I didn't get any other questions. I always do this. I do a Q&A, and I do the Q&A like I put out, hey, ask me questions, and I do it legitimately like 10-20 minutes before I film the podcast, and it's just not enough time for you guys to ask questions. So sorry if you guys if I get more questions later today. Maybe I'll just add them to another lift for next time. But anywho, thank you guys for listening to this. Again, description, Instagram, DM, warm up, get a warm up guide. You guys make sure your warm ups are going just beautifully. I actually just had a client. She's training for a marathon. She's just fast as fuck. She's an elite masters runner, and she is having 60 to 70 mile weeks training for her marathon. And I just got a message from her in her check-in saying, knee feels 100. You're a miracle worker. And I have been harping on that woman. Love her to death. She knows who she is. I've been harping on her to not only, obviously, she's coming in here and we're doing some work, but also freaking warm up before you run. Do some drills. And when you're done running, don't just sit on your butt all day. Like, move around a little bit. And since she's been doing that, she's been feeling freaking awesome. So, really great, because handling 60 to 70 mile weeks, oftentimes you're still going to have some nags, niggles, aches, pains, but she is absolutely crushing it. So, very, very pumped about that. Anyways, I'm logging off, you guys. Next week, we're going to be talking about I'm lifting and I'm still getting hurt. What the frick do I do? So, if you have started incorporating lifting, one, huzzah, I love you. Mwah, my heart goes out to you. But you're like, I'm sore and I'm getting hurt still and I'm having all these problems. This episode's going to be for you. And then we also have some guests coming on. I'm really excited. So I've got a couple of clients coming on with me, running clients coming on and filming with me. And I've also got Veronica coming back, returning to the podcast. I think she's just going to be a regular guest. I absolutely love riffing with Veronica. So that being said, I will see you guys next week for another episode of the Alchemical Life podcast.